All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're gonna wait a few minutes as people filter in. We see there's people joining as we speak. So to kind of kick things off, would love if everyone could share in the chat where they are joining from. For me, I'm calling from Montreal. And Sam, I'm not sure, I don't see your camera anymore.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
That's good.
Okay.
No one needs to look at me anyway. We have slides.
Yeah, we're gonna probably get started in another minute or two just to give some time for people who are jumping from meeting to meeting, as I'm sure you all are, to settle in a little bit. So Sam, what are you doing for Thanksgiving next week?
Having family at our house.
Oh, nice.
Which I love. I don't have to travel anywhere. And cooking. Basically cooking and wrestling with my kids. That's going to be Thanksgiving.
We got your video back, which is good. What's your go-to Thanksgiving thing?
Well, it's new for us. We've only been doing it, at our house for the last couple of years because, we have kids now. So we're the anchor. It's amazing. I love it. So go-to. This year, I'm going to break the turkey apart and not do a whole turkey. I think we're done with that now.
Love that.
So that's going to be the new thing.
Good. All right, we got Utah, New Hampshire, New York, Hartford, Connecticut. Sounds good. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to kick things off here just so we have enough time to get through what we want to get through. So today, obviously, we're here talking about different ways you can drive more hires without having to necessarily spend more money on job advertising, and how your career site is a huge source of opportunity for that to happen. And we host these lunch and learns every couple of weeks. And so I'm Mikaela Fitzwilliam. I am the director of growth here at Dalia. And what I've been doing for the past 4 years at the company is just helping our whole team grow. So whether that be in new customer partnerships, but also in delving into new product ideas for the client. And I'm excited to be joined here today by Sam, who's one of the co-founders and CEO of the company. And so I will kick it off to him to do a quick intro himself.
Awesome. Thanks, Mikaela. So just some quick background on me. And a little bit about my experience in the space. So, I got started in the recruitment technology space in 2008. I was with Indeed for about 8 years in the early days, and my main focus was working on ATS partnerships. And there were two main things I did there, which kind of shaped what I'm doing today for Dalia. One is I made sure that ATSs could track. And at that time, there was very little ability to track where applications came from inside the ATS and hires. And so that was a big part of my first several years at Indeed, just kind of petitioning the ATSs to build the capability to track sources. That was it. And then once they could do that and make sure Indeed was tracked and that our customers could track all of their other sources so they could measure what they were getting. So tracking and measurement was a huge focus for me. And then I moved on to the Indeed Quick Apply product, and helped the early team there build the first version of that, which was originally designed to connect with ATSs and just make it easier for people on Indeed to apply into those ATSs. We got that integrated and connected to well over 100 ATSs by 2015. Many people may be shocked to note there were 600 ATSs in the world as of 2015. Not sure how many there are today, but there's quite a few. And what we saw then was that obviously, when you did a quick apply, it drove a massive increase in volume of applications, especially from mobile devices. But we saw on the Indeed end that the quality or conversion higher went down quite a bit. And so it was an issue then for Indeed. And based on the data we have from our customers, it continues to be an issue today. So from Indeed, I went on to the Muse and worked on partnerships and product there. Spent a lot of time working with recruitment marketing platforms, CRM platforms, and really saw the opportunity there with career sites. Such a massive opportunity for employers, but the companies we worked with just got very little from the CRM activity, or it was really hard to use the CRM to capitalize on this career site traffic. And so the two experiences together motivated me to start Dalia. And so with Dalia, we have a real core focus on maximizing the opportunity on the career site, just like Mikaela said. So let's just talk a little about the kind of companies that we work with today. The common theme is these are high volume hiring businesses. We have a lot of healthcare companies that we work with, and then food service, customer service, high volume, some cases, lots of turnover, or just generally hard to fill kinds of candidates. This is where there's the most acute need and tends to be the most overspending on job advertising. And so that's really what we're trying to do. So for all of these customers, we're trying to basically help them maximize the best asset that they have from an external perspective, which is their career site. So I just wanted to say the word quality because I think it's the central point of what we're talking about today. Quality 10 years ago was the biggest problem that most employers face, and it continues to be the biggest problem that most employers face when they're trying to attract volumes of candidates, especially when they're paying for them. And so it has felt like there's been no real solution to move the needle in any great way on the quality problem. And so this is our focus. We measure ourselves and what we do for our customers to the quality points in their data, which generally is hires. So what can we do about this? Let's take a look at what the data shows. And this is going to be a data-heavy conversation, so I hope everyone loves data.
We love data.
Good. We know from our customers and the data they share with us that career site applications are 3 times more likely to be hired than applicants from job boards, whether they are free, organic, or paid. So it's this huge opportunity. The quality is really high, but the drop-off is high. This data comes from Appcast, the benchmark report that they put out. 95% of people who visit a career site do not complete an application. Now, the nuance in here is that this varies dramatically depending on where those candidates come from. Some sources deliver a much higher conversion to apply than others. But generally, the people visiting a career site that we see, they can be doing lots of different things. They could be really early in their job search. They might not even think that they're going to apply to a job. They might just be doing some research, feeling things out, trying to get a sense of the company, learning about their culture and their values, trying to figure out if they have jobs available for them. And sometimes they don't. The brand's great, but maybe there's not an open job at that moment in time. So there's a lot of reasons why people don't apply. And I think there tends to be a big focus around the application process. And yes, that is a big reason why people don't complete applications, but we'll share a little bit later that there's a lot more to this story and there's a lot more opportunity than just fixing your application process. So if the conversion on the career site is low and you're limited in the number of applications you get there from your best quality source, what do you do to overcome this? What do most employers do to drive up application volume? Well, the typical and most common responsive thing to do is to advertise your jobs. These are the 3 largest networks of candidates: Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and the Appcast network. It's called Appcast Accelerate. This is where most budget goes when companies decide to advertise to get more volume. So
I was going to say, before we jump into the next thing, I just had a quick poll to ask people as we talk about job advertising here. Just curious how many people in the chat are tracking their job advertising sources all the way through to hire. So I just published the poll here. You should see it pop up in the middle of your screen. If you can just take a second to answer that question, that would be really helpful. Thanks, and it can help us guide our conversation. And so far, 75% of people do, 80% of people do, and no one doesn't. So that's some good data here. And 2 people don't know.
All right.
30% don't know, 70% do track all the way through to hire.
Okay.
We can keep that in mind in the conversation.
That's good. For the 30%, maybe we can help. So budget goes to the large sources. But what we see in data from our customers is that quality tends to be an issue, and it's a lot lower when you compare it to the career site. So this is a large healthcare system. This is 3 months of their data, and this just shows applications, hires, and then the application to hire ratio, which is what we describe as quality, and that's what our customers generally think of as quality. And you can see that Indeed drives the maximum amount of volume. Their career site is their second highest volume source of applications, but their strongest source of quality applications. And then the volume sort of tails off by source. Now, not all of these sources are paid. Some of them are free and organic. But if you take a look at where this customer was investing some budget, to sponsor jobs on Indeed, they needed to basically buy 2 times, like 2 applications to make a hire for every 1 application they would have gotten from their career site. So if they could increase the number of applications they're getting from their career site, they wouldn't have to spend money to get on double the volume of applications to meet those hiring goals. So this is just an example that's pretty typical that we see. And actually, Indeed, does pretty well in some categories and some spaces. But when you measure it across the board, like we did in this case, this is what the data shows. So you got to buy more applications. That's more time for the recruiters and sourcers to go through applications who might not be a fit.
And so, Sam, we just talked about tracking, and about 30%, I can check here, now 40% of people who responded don't know, or they don't track to hire, so they're not looking at data like this. And we see that for a lot of our clients. They've struggled tracking and reporting. So what can they do if they don't have access to data like this and can't actually see how their sources are performing to hire? Where should they look?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think there's some nuance in there. What we know is that everybody can access this data. It is possible. It's hard though with some ATSs. So if you don't have application and hire data being tracked into your ATS, step 1 is to just set that up and make sure that it's working, because that is possible with every single ATS on the market. And what you shouldn't do is continue to make investment decisions with your job advertising budget without tracking all the way to the hire. Because you'll see in an example in the future, that can lead to overspending on inefficient sources that are not delivering hires. So what can you do? If you're not sure how to make your tracking work into your ATS, we are happy to help. We can help you set that up no matter what the ATS is. And then getting the data and the reporting out of the ATS can also be a challenge depending on what system you work with. So we're happy to help you analyze that data, but there's also lots of good resources out there to help you analyze raw ATS data.
Okay.
So happy to help.
Thanks.
This is just another example from a really high volume company that we work with in food services. You can see again, Indeed, organic, their top driver of applications, but their career site is also a massive volume of applications. And look how strong the conversion is. Look how strong that quality is from the career site, 10% compared to these other sources. So this company is investing a significant amount of money in Indeed Sponsored. They need to buy 5 times the number of applications to make a hire compared to the applications they get from their career site. Let's take a look at ZipRecruiter. And again, I'm not trying to pick on these sources, but in this case, this company was investing money, not nearly the volume here that they were investing into Indeed, but still look at the inefficiency here, 7 times the number of applications to reach the same amount of hires they would get from career site applications. So the opportunity here is, how can you get more out of this career site so that you don't have to spend money on high volumes of applications that are kind of unlikely to convert into hires? So the final data heavy example we're going to show here is a company of ours, mid-sized healthcare business, who was using a programmatic vendor to not only buy from the programmatic network, but manage all of their spend. And so what we've seen is, programmatic has done an amazing job in saving time. It has really streamlined the process. You don't have to buy things manual anymore. You can do it automatically. You can bid out automatically. And Programmatic has done an amazing job at standardizing CPAs so that everybody knows what is the general fair market price for a certain type of applicant in a certain market. It's done an amazing job there. But our data shows us that our clients' data has shown that it has made no real impact on the quality problem that employers are facing. So if we look at this example here, this is 6 months worth of data. And if you can see the difference in conversion to hire, this particular company invested into a Programmatic Networks job board pool. And this happened to be the lowest converting source, the lowest quality source to hire. But because this customer was not tracking this data all the way through to hires, they were not aware of this. And they continued to invest money into all of these sources, but most importantly, this lowest converting source, and could have shifted that budget elsewhere to more higher converting sources or into their career site. But unfortunately, they didn't. And it just took a while to realize this until they could analyze the data. So this is kind of the risk you could face if you're not measuring all the way through to hire. So that's one point. I think the other point is like Programmatic is great, but how do we improve quality? What can you really do to drive up quality and become less dependent on low quality sources?
I have a question around the quality, because we see this time and time again. I mean, in the past 3 examples you just showed here, and with our other clients we work with, like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, these larger aggregate programmatic job board networks. I mean, they are where a lot of the job seekers go, and where a lot of people believe you need to be to get in front of the job seekers. But how come then, if the majority of people are there, how is the career site is such a higher quality source than these job boards time and time again?
I think there's a couple of reasons for this. The first reason is when someone goes to visit a company's career site, they're showing strong intent, strong interest in that brand. And that's very different versus from looking at a job posting on a job board where they may not know much about your brand at all. So just the intent, the interest level tends to be much higher when you have somebody visiting your career site versus applying to one of your jobs from a job board or on a job board. The other piece of this is if you have basically quick applies coming in, or even if not, like people are just browsing Indeed or one of the other major sites and they're actively in a job search mode, they might be applying to lots of different companies in a very short period of time. So it's not like the quality of those candidates is lower or they have less qualifications themselves. It may just be that they're applying to a lot more companies. And so the chances of any one of those companies hiring that person go down versus the person who was not out there applying to lots of jobs from a job board, but visiting your career site and showing real interest in your brand. So there's a couple of reasons, but I think those are the 2 biggest ones.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
So it feels like when we talk to companies, you know, they feel like their only path forward to reach their hiring goals is to just spend money on job advertising and spend more money to make up for what they're not getting from their career site. But it doesn't need to be this way. There are other paths to basically maximize your career site so you can become less stuck in this cycle and less dependent on sources that don't deliver actual hires. So we want to talk a little bit about what we consider the massive untapped opportunity on your career site. So we already looked at this data. 95% of career site visitors don't complete an application. But there's a bigger number that we think is more interesting. And it's not all about the application process, right? There's something else that's going on. For our customers, most of the visitors to their career site leave without leaving any information behind. They don't connect. They don't even click the apply button. They don't engage in a chat or join a talent community. They're just window shopping. Maybe they're early in their job search, just seeing what's out there, or it's a nurse on a shift, right? And they're just looking at their phone, quickly browsing. they might not even be ready to take action. They just want to learn. And this is the majority of career site visitors. They take no action at all. This is the open opportunity. This is what we focus on maximizing. So let's take a look at some real data. This is another one of our large healthcare customers. This data covers over a year. This is from when they went live with Dalia. And so in this time frame, they got a little over 7,000 signups into the talent network on their career site. In that same time frame with Dalia, they got 124,000 signups from their career site, which is very similar to a talent network signup. So they were able to generate 15 times more candidate leads from their career site without any increase in traffic. In fact, this customer's traffic decreased over time. So this is huge. What could you do with 15 times the volume of leads into your CRM or your talent network? What's the opportunity there? For the same customer, we're just going to take a very recent 3-month period and talk about job applications, because that tends to be the more important focus for our clients. From their career site as a source, they got 17,600 job applications in a 3-month period, and the quality was really strong. With Dalia in place, we got them an additional 11,700 applications in that time frame. So a 66% increase in career site job applications, which for them was their highest converting source to hire. So prior to this, they were investing money in job advertising channels to get this additional 11,000 and beyond. But this is a different way. This was not possible before they turned on Dalia. They couldn't get this kind of an increase. So this is just an example of the kind of opportunity that's available. For some of our other customers, these increases in applications can be even larger. So let's just keep going and talk through how this all works. So this is a company we work with, US Renal Care, in dialysis, one of the major dialysis players in the US. So we're going to show Dalia on a mobile device. Job seekers are looking on their phones 70 to 80% of the time. And this is also where we see the most drop off. So let's pretend you're a registered nurse, you're on your phone, you're in a shift, but you might not be ready to take any action. You might not even click an apply button. So if these candidates become inactive for a certain period of time, we trigger a form to open on top of the career site. And it's really simple and highly mobile optimized. And we just ask the person for a little bit of information about themselves. We get their area of interest so that we understand the types of jobs that they are looking for. And we can go deeper and ask some qualifying questions, depending on what they chose. This is all customizable, but we try to make it really seamless for a candidate to just share a little bit of information about themselves. And then we find that if you can deliver immediate, high value matches to those candidates, they're much more likely to take action in this session where they may not have taken action before. So this alone drives up the conversion of those unique visitors to clicking on a job on the career site by quite a bit. But we also know that sometimes people aren't ready. Like they're early in their career, in their search, right? Or let's say this nurse is on a shift. Great, these jobs are available, but maybe they don't have time to take action on that right now. So they put their phone down, go back to work. Well, what do you do next? We keep these candidates engaged automatically with high value job notifications over text primarily and email. And so if that nurse put their phone down, they're going to get a text message within 10 seconds with a relevant job match. And then moving forward, whenever there's a job match that's relevant for that person from the company, we're going to notify them right away over text. We also send them notifications over email, but text is huge. It drives the bulk of applications back to our customers from their career sites. So this is really one of the huge unlocks that we've had at Dalia, is basically connecting with the 50% of career site visitors who normally would abandon the site without leaving any information, and quickly getting them engaged with automated text job remarketing. This is what drives back the massive increases in job applications like we saw before for that large healthcare system. So I just want to spend a few minutes here on the power of text messaging compared to email. I know that everyone understands text is really strong, but I think this data highlights it really well. This is the top 30 healthcare job titles across our healthcare customers, and this shows the difference in click-through rate. So we can see across all these different categories in healthcare, text is dominant. The click-through rate is just so much stronger. And so we send actually a lot more emails than we send texts, but text drives 60 to 70% of the total applications back to our customers. It's really expensive to do text at scale. It's also very hard to do it at scale and have good delivery. And I think that's part of the challenge for employers to do this on their own. But if you can figure that out, it's a huge opportunity. And again, this is a way to basically maximize those career site visitors. Instead of investing dollars into channels where candidates are very unlikely to be hired, this is a path to get them engaged with your career site over a channel that they already use every day, all day long, text messaging. If we break this out in a different category, this is for high volume. So we looked at our customers in food service, retail, et cetera, even skilled trade. And again, you can see the text is dominant. There's some categories where it's like much stronger than others, especially housekeeping. It's just night and day. It's almost, email just almost doesn't even work. It's almost pointless. So these are people who are on their phones dominantly, and that's where you need to access these candidates. So what, right? If we do all this, what does it matter and what does it get us? So what we have seen across our customers who are using Dalia is they can get anywhere from a 10 to 15 times increase in the number of leads that they were getting from their career site. When I say a lead, that's generally a talent network sign up, a job alert sign up, et cetera. So you can get an immediate massive increase in the people that you're connecting with and their information. That's great for sourcing teams who might today be buying into massive databases. You've just got this talent pool available on your career site. So you've got to find a way to kind of get in front of them and get their attention. But the most important increase, and the thing that can really offset your job advertising budget and let you be more strategic with your budget, is the increase you can get in career site job applications. Our customers have the capacity to get anywhere from 2 to 3 times the volume of applications from their career site by using Dalia. And so this is the big unlock that can make a massive impact on your budget. So we wanted to run through an example and just show what's possible with a budget. So we looked at this. This is a mid-market healthcare company that we worked with. And we wanted to show an example of what you could do to shift budget based on career site conversion gain. So this is the same data we showed, but we just removed the 6 months and just use the totals. So it's applications and hires by source. And we do not know the total dollars spent by source or the CPAs for this customer. Indeed was tracked as one source, even though it was a combination of sponsored and organic. So we're going to leave that out of the analysis. But just to make the example, we assumed all of the cost per application numbers were the same here. And what we did know from this customer is they were generally within a 15 to 20% variance, and that's true with our other healthcare customers. CPAs by source generally are pretty close. So we did the math on if it was $10 CPA, which is about average, like what's the investment level, right, to get this number of applications and hires with these paid sources that they had. So it looks like $90,000. They got 1,778 hires for that spend. So how could they use career site conversion to offset that and be more strategic? Well, here's an example of what they could do. First, they could eliminate the lowest quality source and shift that budget elsewhere. So why continue to spend money on a source that's driving a decent volume of applications, but very, very few hires for the money? Let's shift that not all to one source, but across the other sources that were performing really, really well. what we were doing on the career site was driving the highest conversion to quality because it was the career site traffic that we're converting. So the quality there is really strong. So maximize that, shift a little bit more budget there. ZipRecruiter and Indeed were also quite strong for this customer. Their conversion to hire, not bad at all. So to keep yourself diversified, shift a little bit more budget their way. So instead of spending $90,000 in total, this client could spend $75,000 in total, save themselves $15,000, but get virtually the same number of hires for that budget, and also a lot less unqualified applications for their team to have to sift through. This is something that's totally possible immediately for so many employers in the space, whether you're in healthcare or you're in a different industry, simply by maximizing your career site conversion. And there is massive opportunity to do that. And also by just looking at how your sources track to hire and then reallocating budget based on those who are performing the best. So I want to take a few minutes, just talk about the solution that we have and basically the simplicity of it. You know, one of the things that I saw early when I was building Dalia was that so many solutions in the market required significant integration, significant lift from teams to get live. They took forever. It might take you 6 months to a year to implement a new career site platform, or it could take you months to integrate a new chat technology to work with your ATS. Actually, we see these chat technologies are incredibly powerful, and so it's probably worth the time. But there's some integrations that should be easier, and I wanted to make Dalia one of those really simple options. So it works with any ATS. There is absolutely zero integration required with anything, including the ATS, any career site platform. There is no setup, there's no training, there is no usage, a team. It's a no-touch solution, and it can be live within days, driving results immediately. So it's one of the unique solutions that can drive a massive impact at scale right away. And yeah, we would encourage anyone who's interested today to get some time with us. And we're happy to do a couple things. We can tell you more about Dalia, but we can also help you dig into your ATS data and source tracking and help you understand that and how everything's performing, because I know that can be really challenging to dig through that data. So yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming in. I don't know, Mikaela, if there are any additional questions from the attendees, but happy to take any if there are.
Yes, right now we don't have any questions in the chat, but if you have any questions, you can throw them into the chat. We'll stay around for a few minutes if anyone wants to put their questions in there. But thank you all so much for joining. I hope you saw a new perspective and learned a new perspective today. And yeah, we'll keep you posted on when our next lunch and learns are going to be. Probably won't be until the new year. Oh, we have someone typing, Sam. A few people typing. Thanks, Stacy. And Adam. See you tomorrow. Adam said sold. Great job.
Awesome.
There's one other person typing, so I just want to make sure we don't miss their question if they had one. See some people dropping. I just want to stay in here for a second. Let's see. Oh, the person who was typing disconnected. So I think it's all good. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.